Good morning, Smoke Wagon 45 here. Want to just take a few minutes to talk about a couple of new weapons I've purchased. First of all, I'm real big into World War II, any military firearm. But this one's been kind of put on the back burner for a long time. I have M1 Garand, M1 Carbine, 1903 A3, German Mauser, but I've always wanted the M14, and I've kind of been putting it off. They leapfrogged over to the black rifle many years ago, and I always loved this rifle, but I never seemed to pull the trigger on it. But the last 6 months I've really been looking at the M14. Springfield offers a nice discount for law enforcement, and I was about ready to pull the trigger on that, but after doing a lot more research on YouTube and other places, the things I found out, you know, all cast parts, which, I mean, they're still good parts. I mean, they still last a long time, but I went with Bula Defense. They make everything drop forged, so everything is drop forged, and yes, everything is empty. Gonna be making this one into a DMR, so I have some of the parts and pieces of my bipod and my scope mount. Still waiting on the rifle scope mount and the front bipod connection mount, both from Satellite Arms or Industries or whatever they're called. I went with this cheek riser. It was a little less expensive, and I liked it okay, so I thought I'd give it a try. But there she is, Bula Defense, and they're a defense contractor, U.S. defense contractor, so they've been making parts and pieces for the military for a long time. Like I said, everything is forged. Also, it has the bayonet lug and a wood handguard, which I like and appreciate. This is basically like the configuration that it was in when it was first adopted. Had the wood handguard, and I love that American walnut. So this is a rifleman's rifle here, and like I said, I'll be setting that up for DMR. Been trying to get the primary arms 3x18 scope in the ACSS Radical 308, of course, but sold out. I actually had one in my cart and placed the order, and it sat there for a couple of days, and then they notified me. Actually, they didn't even notify me. I was like, I should be getting a shipping indication or email, and it never came, so I logged back on, and oh, they're out of stock. So I'm like, well, that's wonderful. It would have been nice, though, if they would have notified me, hey, we're out of stock. And yeah, I could find it somewhere else, but they have a little law enforcement discount also, so I was kind of wanting to go with that. But there's the M14, Bula Defense M14, and I could have gone with, you know, James River or one of the other ones, but Bula Defense is the one that makes the receivers and stuff for James River anyhow. So you might as well go straight to the source. But I picked this one up on Gunbroker. I've used Gunbroker a few times. The only thing I didn't appreciate with Gunbroker, this particular dealer, is I told him I wanted it. The emails back and forth were kind of a day here, a day there, and so it took a while. And then I even made payment, gave him my credit card information and stuff, and it took him several days to actually charge the account, and then it took him several more days to actually ship it out. So I mean, it took almost a couple of weeks to get this from the dealer. I don't know, dragging his feet. I think he was hoping for a little bit more money, so I thought he'd maybe hang on to it and see if he could sell it more than what I offered. And like I said, this is probably about $450 more than the Springfield Armory would have been. But like I said, I really appreciate the bayonet, the wood handguard, and the cast, or not the cast, the forged parts, pieces that are within this gun. She's pretty tight. I've only taken it to the range once and fired 20 rounds just to function test it. I didn't even put paper up. I just wanted to see if she would fire smoothly. So I went to the 200 steel, and I was shocked and amazed. It's hitting that plate every time. That's at 200 yards open sights. I think the plate was probably about an 18-inch plate. And then I got a little cocky and arrogant, and I went to the smaller plate, which is probably about half that size. And I missed that a couple of times, but I have not touched the rear sights. That was out of the box, just shooting at the steel. So I went back to the 18-inch plate and was putting rounds back on it. So could use to be zeroed in a little better, but like I said, I'm gonna set this up for a DMR anyhow. So waiting for the regular, or all the parts and pieces to come in so I can get this back out of the range. Plus, ammo is not the easiest thing to find nowadays, but I have some, and I think I've scored some more in Rockford, Illinois. My nephew just called. He said he's got a friend that's willing to sell some. So, and oddly enough, you know, there would be shipping costs, but oddly enough, there's a friend of mine from Rockford, Illinois, that moved out here about 6 months ago, and she's back there right now visiting her family for the holidays. And we were gonna pick up some 30-06 from one of their friends, but he's in Wisconsin, kind of ways up there in Wisconsin, and didn't want to travel down to Rockford. So had to pass on that, but I might be getting some more 308 here. And there's a nice little twist to the friend that's in Rockford right now. I'll give you a sneak peek at another purchase, very unexpected purchase. See if I can get the whole rifle in there. Very unexpected purchase. But there's my new M14 Bula. And I can't wait to get it all set up. But the other item I picked up was totally unexpected. Like I said, I've always liked World War II stuff. So I've always wanted a Colt 45, World War II Colt 45, 1911 A1. But they've always been a little too pricey and out of control. So many years ago, probably around 2006, I picked this up when Springfield Armory came out with the mil spec 1911 A1. So I've had this one for many years. In fact, I was working for an armored car company in Phoenix and had to use this very firearm in defense of my life and my partner's life. We were held up at a bank taking a shipment in. The gunman had a AK-47 M96 version and held us up at gunpoint. And then the bullets started flying. So actually Phoenix Police Department and FBI took possession of this firearm that I'm holding and fired a couple more of the rounds that I had in the weapon in my other magazine. As I ran this dry, reloaded, and fired a couple more rounds out of the second magazine, which I never did get my first magazine back, which my first magazine was the one actually with this purchase. So I was a little bummed on that. But so this firearm has been ballistically checked, and its signature is in file with Phoenix PD and FBI. But I've always wanted a real one, and a couple years ago I was going to put it in paperwork. I had the paperwork all set up and everything, and I missed the deadline. So I thought, well, that's a done deal, never going to get one of those. But that friend that's in Rockford right now, actually her husband scored one, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. But again, there's my Bula M14. It's been a very bad year, very rough year for a lot of people, millions of people around the world. This coronavirus, I don't know if I mentioned today is December 24th, 2020, and these firearms here have been the best thing that's happened to me this year. Like I said, it's been a pretty rough year. So there's my new M14. Smoke Wagon 45 out.